former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has vowed to make the interest of the Yoruba people of southwestern Nigeria paramount in his policymaking and governance if they support him to become the next president of Nigeria during the next general election in 2027. In a statement issued by his media consultant, Kola Johnson, Atiku highlighted his long-standing personal and familial connections to the Southwest, including his first marriage to a Yoruba woman and the subsequent peace and progress it brought to his life. The former vice president described Titi Abubakar as his jewel of inestimable value and insisted that the Yorubas had always been amongst his closest friends and political allies. It will be noted that Atiku Abubakar is leading the African Democratic Congress coalition, which is angling to unseat President Bola Tinubu, who is Yoruba from the Southwest, in 2027. Well, Arise News analyst Sobowale joins me now to discuss Atiku Abubakar's many promises to the Yoruba and the need to curb the ethnicization of politics in Nigeria in favor of promotion of inclusivity. Mr. Sobowale, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.
Pleasure.
So, how credible really is this pledge made by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar to ensure Yorubas occupy top places if he becomes president?
I like your choice of the word credible. The statement as it stands has a lot of question mark in terms of credibility, given his recent utterances on the presidency and the person of the president of Nigeria. It was, I will reply him in the words of our sage and leader, Bafemi Awolowo. He said the Yorubas are critical, fastidious, discerning people, that they will not follow you because you are Yoruba. But if your policies suit their self-interest, they will follow you regardless of where you come from. Atiku should know that because he's been married for a long time to Titi Abubakar. But his utterances in the last 2 years, especially since he lost the election, has been so anti-government and anti-Tinubu that he forgot that Tinubu is not from Igbo land, but from Yoruba land. So for him now to do a somersault.
Allow me to interrupt you there.
Yes.
Are you saying that because he's criticizing the president means that he's not in support of the Yoruba people? Is that what you're saying?
Something like that, because he has ethnicized the issue. I'm not running away from that. He has ethnicized it. What has brought about, if he becomes president, he will include Yorubas? What is the need for that? This is a multi-ethnic society. Why is he going out of his way to seek inclusion for the Yorubas? Now, if he had not done something against the Yorubas, for which he's having a remorse, whether you like it or not, Tinubu is Yoruba. And like I said, and like Olawa said, Yorubas follow people because of their self-interest, regardless of where you come from. And let me say it loud and clear. If he wants to be president and he wants to practice meritocracy, then almost all his officers will be Yorubas. The Yorubas are the most enlightened people in Nigeria. Take it or leave it. So if he is having an afterthought, he's welcome. My advice to him is to mellow down his rhetoric. Tinubu and himself, all these politicians, they are almost like blood brothers. But what's like split milk? If we split milk, no forces in the universe can gather together split milk. So if he's having a change of heart now, it's welcome. And I urge all Yoruba leaders and all multi-ethnic leaders to know that we are in this thing together. This Nigeria, Obodo Nigeria, we are in it together. Some of us suffered as a result because you are from the South. You get me? When I was in school, Northerners will come to your ministry, to your bank, wherever, and they are right there at the top. So we have suffered discrimination in our own country, but we still believe in the country. We still believe. If he's having an afterthought about the Yorubas, he's welcome to it. But like I said, that Awolowo said, the Yorubas are fastidious, critical, and discerning people. If you know what those words mean, you will know that Yorubas are like elephants who have long memory. Let's leave it at that for now.
Okay, now you said he has ethnicized the issue, but some people would argue that it didn't exactly start it. I mean, we remember how the 2023 election was. It was purely ethnicized. So I'm wondering how Nigeria's political landscape can be transformed.
I don't agree with you.
Well, I'll give you a chance to react to that. So I'm now wondering how Nigeria's political landscape can be transformed, to reduce ethnicization, promote inclusivity, ensuring that all regions and communities are represented, not a case of if you are Yoruba or if you are Hausa or, when are we going to stop having this kind of discussions and become more, national-minded?
Have you landed?
Yes, I have.
Okay. You see, we have gone beyond the stage Abubakar Atiku has come in now. Maybe, you see, if you have compunction, maybe it's having compunction on recent utterances, is welcome to it. But we have gone beyond that. That's why we have federal character, to balance things. And if we must discuss our ethnicity, it's highly subjective issues, not objective. You see, when I was at Ife, I was taught in political science that you need to have love for your family, love for your environment, before you can transfer that love to an amorphous conglomeration of ethnic groups called Nigeria. But some Nigerians think differently, like Olusegun Obasanjo. He thinks you have to be a Nigerian first before you are a Yoruba person. And that is why he lost touch with his people altogether. That was why Danjuma said some time ago that Obasanjo is the most detribalized Nigerian, but unfortunately, his people hate him for that. So it depends on your experience, and it depends on how you start, either from the family to the society, to your locality, then to the nation state. Or you say you are a Nigerian first and foremost, which is not easy because you cannot get to the top, and then you see you can even, except in the military or societies where they are uni-ethnic. But once you have 2 or 3 people, you have to do some balancing. You have to have affinity for something more than the other. That is why I started, it's because I'm Yoruba that I started out with the quotation from Obafemi Awolowo, which even I don't much like it. But he said the truth, that the Yoruba will follow you if your policies coincide with the self-interest, regardless of wherever you come from. Which means we are literally the most accommodating. There is a particular people where the acronym for the name, people say I before others. And you have the Fulani hierarchy, the Kaduna Mafia. We all have names, pejorative names, we call each other. But at the end of the day, you are one people. It's a pity Atiku was a federalist. He's a federalist. I can say that for him. But in the last 2-3 years, it got so vociferous that his federalist credentials have taken some battering, which has led to him now coming to promise to dangle the carrot before the Yorubas for the 2027 election. Okay. He's welcome to it.
Now, Mr. Sobowale, just before I let you go, I noticed that earlier you wanted to disagree with me on the 2023 election being largely ethnicized.
Yes.
But I'm sure that you remember the Emilokon, Yoruba Lokon. And I'm sure you also remember, you talked about Yorubas being very accommodating. No. But I'm sure you would remember, Mr. Sobowale, how the Igbos were treated during the election, where some of them were not allowed to vote, mainly because they are from, Igbo extraction. So how do we guard against that going forward, as we look forward to 2027?
There's nothing to guard against. It's a multi-ethnic society.
No, but the issue of not being allowed to vote because of where you are from, that's dangerous, Mr. Sobowale.
Where did that happen?
That happened in Lagos here, where Igbos were not allowed to vote.
There's no one Lagos. Tokwe.
Mr.
Tinubu
Sobowale,
won Lagos.
it was very obvious
sorry,
during the election.
Obi won Lagos.
I know that, but I'm talking about during the presidential election.
I'm talking,
Some Igbos were chased back home by area boys who did not allow them to vote.
That was having an isolated case. I
I
don't think there are many Yorubas who are voting in the East. You get me? So don't isolate issues. And anyway, whether you like it or not, Obi won in Lagos. That still hacks some Yorubas. But you see, don't look at things from the ethnic angle. It's divisive. That is why I say what Atiku has done is unlike him.
Exactly. So I'm
but it's an isolated
that he's not the
case.
only one. So
maybe,
we have to make sure that all
to
politicians do not look at things from the ethnic angle, because they usually campaign based on the ethnic angle. How do we stop that?
There is no way to stop it, because see, they say blood is thicker than water, and it's your ethnic blood that runs in your vein, whether you like it or not. That is why we have federal character, because you know the ethnic blood can be so polluted in such a way that people put their own kismet in all positions where they are. Do you get me? That's why we have federal character. We are managing it. But what Atiku has said, even though it is conciliatory and almost apologetic to the Yorubas, but it's part of the ethnic journey we are embarking on. You get me? It's unless and until we minimize our subjectivity on religion and ethnicity, we'll have problems with our federalism. But it's a work in progress. Let's leave it at that.
Oh, very well said. And I'm sure this discussion, will continue as we move into the elections. Yeah. All right, Arise News analyst Dayo Sobowale, thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.